So now I'd like to introduce our final speaker, Dr. Ken Schultz, who will speak about OCE partnerships. Ken?
Thanks very much, Bridget. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I appreciate your participation in this event and your interest in potential projects at the University of Waterloo and generally just finding out more about the incredibly interesting work that's happening here. OCE is an organization that purveys or is a conduit for government funding. Most of that is provincial government funding, but we do deal with some federal programs as well. And in a one-sentence summary, the idea is where can we provide that government assistance to take technology and create commercial or industry success, economic success out of it. So we do that in three very general ways. We sponsor entrepreneurship with the idea of starting companies and providing funds in areas where there is a gap and a company may only be able to survive those very early years with our help. This tends to focus around university spinouts, but with more of a general trend towards youth entrepreneurship. We're helping out in that area as well with some of our new programs. I'm not going to talk about the entrepreneurship end of things today in this presentation, but if anybody has any interest, we're going to be manning the table out there in the hallway for during the networking time, so please drop by and we'll see if we can help you in that area. The two other areas which are more applicable to the university collaborative environment, first of all, the one is talent development or the development of highly qualified people. We're very much about providing either fellowships or internships, funding to develop specific individuals, give them learning experiences in hopefully an industrially relevant context. And I'll describe that in a little bit more detail coming up. And the final area is in the area of collaborative research, which is the theme that this afternoon is primarily about. The idea that university research is improved or targeted or enhanced by having an industrial partner that provides direction, that provides a way to aim that research or a direction to aim that research, while at the same time the benefits flowing the other direction to industry, hopefully enabling them to produce more revenue, more jobs, a more competitive place in the market due to the fact that they've been able to leverage some of that university innovation and to their betterment. We have a mandate that is bordered within the province of Ontario, so we are all about helping Ontario-based companies work with Ontario-based universities. I happen to be blessed by being here in the Waterloo area where a whole bunch of interesting things can happen by having companies based in the Waterloo region work together with universities and the college based in the Waterloo region, but it need not be that geographically limited. Again, you can come talk to us at the table. If you're a company and have interest in working with university researchers anywhere in Ontario, we'll talk to you. And likewise, the academics here at the University of Waterloo, we can help you get introduced to companies anywhere in the province of Ontario. So, sort of a long-winded introduction, but I think it's going to be helpful. It should be helpful to set the tone of what I'm going to talk about here. I first want to spend a couple of slides on our new internship program. So, I understand there's probably two different components to my audience here. Some people who may be familiar with the programs that OCE has offered in the past, and some who have no idea how OCE operates. So hopefully this will address both needs. But the internship program is a slight variation on what we've had in the past, but is intended to be very broad. So we want to be able to meet a lot of the needs in providing relevant training opportunities for students. And one of the means of doing this is, or this is primarily through our TALENTEDGE program. One of the components of that is the TALENTEDGE internship program, or the TIP. The TIP has, it's divided into 4-month units. Each of these 4-month internship units is valued at $15,000 cash and $5,000 in kind. Of that, OCE provides $10,000 cash per internship unit, and the industry partner must match that with $5,000 in cash and $5,000 in kind. There's a maximum of 2 units allowed per intern, that is per student, and PhD students are an exception to that, and they get a maximum of 6 lifetime. TIP can be used basically to perform a small-scale research project. So a company may want to engage a master's student or a PhD student to perform a piece of research, and that student can then spend their time split in some predetermined way between campus and between the company. And we will fund undergraduate students in that way, master's and PhD students. The intern retains their full-time student status, and in that 4-month unit, the intern must be paid a minimum of $10,000, with the balance of the cash can go towards research costs. Another alternative is what you might think of more obviously when you think of an intern, and that is for that 4-month period, the intern is full-time at the company. Okay? So we're very pleased to roll out this program and allow for the opportunity of filling gaps at companies and allowing them to take on interns either on a, well, for this bullet, on this 4-month or 8-month temporary basis. During that time, the intern's an employee of the company, must sign an employment agreement, be bound with all the IP requirements and all of that of being a full-time employee. During that 4-month chunk, they get paid the full $15,000. It's also applicable to hire recent graduates. So if there is a potential employee of yours as a company, they've graduated from an undergrad, college, or master's program within the past 3 years, the TIP can be used to pay for either their first 4 months or their first 8 months of full-time permanent employment. This can be for a science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, STEM type person, or it can be for any field. In order for the application to be successful, it needs to be built around the idea of a project, so we're not funding people to get jobs. Okay, it's not a job funding program, as I mentioned from the outset, it's a people development program, so therefore the idea is during this 4 or 8 month period, they should be working on a project. Companies can bundle together multiples of these, either sequentially or in parallel, and the bigger your needs are, the more glad we are to talk to you about the tips. And industry interaction is mandatory for the purpose of that highly qualified personnel development, even in the case where it's this research project that might be mostly based on the campus. So that talked about everything except the people who already have PhDs, and they fall under the TALENTEDGE Fellowship Program, or the TFP. You'll notice there's a math error on here, unfortunately. When you add 32 and 25, you don't get 62, you get 57. Sorry about that. So a 12-month fellowship is valued at $57,500. Of that, OCE provides $32,500 of the cash, and the company provides $25,000 cash, as well as $25,000 in kind. So this goes to a postdoctoral fellow who can be on campus full-time or split between the campus and the company, or it can be basically a full-time employee of the company where it's more or less a new hire program for PhD graduates. Okay? Again, STEM or not, and the same general idea of the application is based around a project. Okay. So what we have done this year, which is a variation of what we've had in the past, is made these internships also an integral part of the funding for collaborative research. So we want part of the thought that goes into defining a collaborative research project to be about how am I developing students specifically, which chunks of this funding are specifically devoted to student stipends. Okay? So as I go through our collaborative research funding models, you can think about how they fit together. Okay. Our 2 main vehicles for collaborative research are called Voucher for Innovation and Productivity. That's what the acronym, it's VIP, it is what it is. and that's VIP 1, and the one that'll be on a future slide is VIP 2. Okay, so there's $20,000 from OCE to address technical challenges that will have a commercial impact, jobs, revenue, improved productivity. Basically, a company has a problem that they need the university to help them solve. Okay? To get that $20,000, the company has to provide a minimum cash contribution of $5,000, so there's a 4-to-1 cash leverage ratio. The balance is made up of $15,000 in in-kind. So a VIP 1 project can go from 4 to 12 months. And then to make it incrementally bigger, you can add those 4-month fellowships on top and have up to 3 4-month units combined with a VIP 1. Another thing that we've done to enable more convenience for the companies and for the academic researchers is to create a one-stop portal to apply for other types of funding from other sources and bundle those together with your VIP. So I've already mentioned the VIP itself. Step up here so you can see it in the first column there, right? So the $20,000 in base funding, the matching requirements. I've mentioned that you can bundle up to 3 of the TIPs with, that's the matching requirement that goes to industry on that. Through our application portal, you can also apply for an NSERC Engage, which is $25,000, so that's additive to the same project, which doesn't require any cash match, but from a sector perspective is in the natural sciences and engineering area. And we also allow the company to engage in a complementary research project done at the company site that matches the research done on campus, and that can be funded by IRAP through an addendum basically to the application. So that's the VIP 1, again works together with our internships. The VIP 2 is for larger projects. There's a combination of the base funding and the TALENTEDGE funding on that. The base funding can be up to $150,000 over 24 months. There's also a minimum size of the project once you add together the base and the internship of $75,000 per year. So the math can be a little bit complicated. Again, come and talk to us at our desk if you want more detail. The cash matching requirement from industry is a 50% cash match, the balance in kind for a total 1-to-1 match. Projects 12 to 24 months. And then the minimum number of TALENTEDGE 4-month units that needs to go along with this project is 3. So in the case of the VIP 1, it was anywhere from 0 to 3. Here it's a minimum of 3. And you can also add postdocs as well. So that's sort of the bread and butter of the programs that we run are around the TALENTEDGE for internships and the VIPs for collaborative work. We also run other programs that are sort of more specialized, but I'm just going to touch on 2 of them very quickly here. One of them in the area of high performance computing. So if there is a collaborative research project where access to basically computing resource on a shared supercomputer is going to advance the company's interests and advance the R&D project, you can combine the funding that I mentioned in a VIP 2 with a special HPC award. The HPC award allows access to the shared computing resource. So they work complementary to each other. It's part of this larger initiative which is called SOCIP. The University of Waterloo is one of the 7 partner universities, so happy to work with you and the folks at Waterloo to put together a project in that area. In terms of the technical focuses that we have in the area of using the compute resources, they tend to be focused on health applications or smart infrastructure. Another area that is a little more obscure but might be of interest to some is using the compute resources as a research bed to look at new compute architectures. So one of the platforms that's available is actually an FPGA-based platform where you're changing the hardware of the supercomputer as part of the research. So, and the other area that I just want to talk very quickly about is an initiative that we have that's funded by Ministry of Transport. It's $1 million that's set aside and devoted to connected vehicle, autonomous vehicle projects. There are a lot of words there. I'm not going to read them all, but basically MTO cares about keeping roads safe, keeping drivers attentive to the roads, even as connected and autonomous becomes a more pervasive technology. So key areas across human factors, control systems, transportation systems, data, and improving road traffic management. The interesting thing about this program is that it can fund both collaborative research, i.e. company gets together with university researcher, or it can fund research between two companies. So where one of the companies needs a problem solved and can provide money to another company that can solve the problem, OCE can also add money to that relationship. So I hope this I hope this was quick enough in terms of a run through of our programs, and I hope it was helpful. OCE is very pleased to be a sponsor of the event today. A lot of interesting presentations. Very quickly, in terms of collaborative research, the way this can work for a company, you know a researcher, you come to us and we can provide the funding for that relationship. Or it could be that you have a problem and you have no idea which researcher is going to solve it for you. We can work together with you as a company and folks like Bridget and the research directors of the various faculties. If we have them in the room or if they're waiting outside. Catherine from CVB, yes, and we have Dave Dietz from engineering and Mark Gibson from science. So we're all willing to help you find willing and very excited to help you find professors that can help you solve your problems. And in the other way, you know, the academics, the grad students, they have their posters out there. They have solutions, and they'd love to find out if you guys in industry have problems that match them. So hopefully this is an event that allows those relationships to be built and rolling towards engaging in projects. So thank you very much for your attention, and enjoy the networking time.
Thanks very much, Ken. That was a great overview and detailed overview of the new OCE programs.